I've always loved the walk home from the bakery at night. Trastevere's narrow cobblestone streets are beautiful in the darkness, lit by street lamps that make the ancient buildings glow amber. The air smells like espresso and bread, and that particular Roman summer warmth that feels like history itself breathing. That night, the night everything changed, I was tired, flour still dusting my forearms despite scrubbing them in the bakery sink. It was 11 p.m., and I'd spent 6 hours perfecting a wedding cake for some politician's daughter. My hands ached. My feet ached. All I wanted was to collapse into bed. I noticed the door first. My apartment door, slightly ajar. I stopped on the landing, my keys in my hand, my heart suddenly pounding. I was certain, absolutely certain, I'd locked it this morning. I always locked it. Rome was beautiful, but it wasn't safe. Maybe I'd forgotten. Maybe I'd been distracted thinking about the cake order. Maybe. Close the door. The voice came from inside my apartment.
Male. Deep. Calm.
Someone was in my apartment. I should have run. Should have screamed. Should have done anything except what I actually did, which was push the door open wider, my hands shaking. The lights were off, but the moonlight coming through my kitchen window illuminated a figure sitting at my small table.
A man.
Large.
Still.
Watching me. I screamed. Dropped my keys. Reached for my phone with shaking hands. Don't. He stood, and he was huge. Easily 6'2", broad shoulders, moving toward me with a grace that was completely wrong for someone that size. Like a predator. Your apartment isn't safe anymore. You're moving. My fingers were on the emergency call button when he was suddenly there, his hand closing over my phone. Not grabbing. Not violent. Just completely, utterly in control. Like taking my phone from me was the easiest thing in the world. Who the hell are you? My voice came out higher than I wanted, panicked. I'm calling the police. You need to leave right now or I'll. The police can't help you. He was still holding my phone, his dark eyes studying my face. The men looking for you will find you here within 24 hours. Maybe sooner. So you're moving. Looking for me? I don't. What are you talking about? I'm not going anywhere with you. Your father sent you something before he died. His voice was matter-of-fact, like he was discussing the weather. The Corsetti family wants it back. They've already killed 3 people looking for it. You're next unless you come with me.
Now.
The words didn't make sense. My father? The man I hadn't seen in 10 years, who'd walked out when I was 15 and never came back. My father? I stared at him. I haven't seen my father in a decade. What do you mean, before he died? He's dead. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe. You didn't know. Know what?
My voice was rising.
Who are you? How do you know about my father? What's happening? Lorenzo Valentino. He said it like I should recognize the name.
Like it should mean something.
I work for people who want what your father took. The difference is, I'm not going to torture you to get it.
Torture.
The word hung in the air between us, heavy and terrible. I don't have anything, I whispered. I don't know what you're talking about. My father and we weren't in contact. I don't know anything about his life. Then we'll figure that out somewhere safe. He released my phone, placed it on the counter with deliberate care. Pack a bag. 1 minute. Or I carry you out as you are. This is insane, my mind screamed. This man broke into my apartment. He's talking about torture and dead fathers, and moving me somewhere. I should run.
Fight.
Scream for the neighbors. But something in his eyes stopped me. Not cruelty. Not violence. Just absolute certainty. He believed what he was saying. He believed I was in danger. And if my father really was dead, if there really were people looking for something. 1 minute, he repeated. Starting now. I moved before I could think about it, grabbing my backpack from the hook by the door, rushing into my bedroom.
Clothes.
Toiletries. My grandmother's cookbook, the one thing of value I owned, worn and stained from years of use. My phone charger. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely zip the bag. When I emerged, he was standing by the door, completely relaxed, like breaking into apartments and kidnapping pastry chefs was routine. Good. he said, taking my bag from me. His hand found my elbow, firm but not painful. Stay close. Don't run. Don't scream. The Corsetti have eyes everywhere. Where are we going? Somewhere they won't find you. He guided me down the stairs, through the narrow street, toward a black SUV that looked completely wrong parked among the small Italian cars. The windows were tinted, expensive. This was not a normal car. Get in, he said, opening the passenger door. I don't even know who you are. You could be. I could be taking you somewhere to kill you, he finished calmly. But if that were my intention, I'd have done it in your apartment. Much simpler. Get in, Alessia. The sound of my name in his voice made me shiver. How long had he been watching me? How much did he know? I got in the car. He drove in silence, navigating Rome's streets with perfect confidence, heading out of the city toward the countryside. I watched the familiar buildings give way to darkness, my phone clutched in my lap. Don't, he said without looking at me. Don't call anyone. Don't text. They're monitoring phone activity. Any call you make puts whoever you contact in danger. Who is they? The Corsetti? Who are the Corsetti? Crime family. Your father worked for them. Low-level accounting. He saw something he shouldn't have. Took evidence. They killed him for it. His hands were steady on the wheel, his voice flat. They think he passed that evidence to someone before he died. You're the obvious candidate, but I don't have anything. He never contacted me. They don't believe that. He glanced at me briefly. Neither do the people I work for. Who do you work for? The Moretti family. He said it like I should know the name. We want the evidence too. But we're not interested in collateral damage. Collateral damage? I repeated numbly. You mean me? Yes. We drove for another 30 minutes. I watched Rome disappear behind us, replaced by dark countryside, olive groves, the occasional villa. Finally, he turned onto a private road, passed through a gate that opened automatically, and pulled up in front of a sprawling farmhouse. Out, he said, already opening his door. The villa was beautiful in that way that screamed money, trying to look rustic. Stone walls, terracotta roof, gardens that were too perfect to be accidental. And isolated. Completely, utterly isolated. My stomach dropped. Where are we? A safe house. He was already walking toward the door, my bag in his hand. No one knows about this property except 3 people. You're safe here. Safe, I repeated. I'm in the middle of nowhere with a strange man who broke into my apartment. This is the opposite of safe. He stopped, turned to face me. In the moonlight, I could see his face clearly for the first time. Dark eyes. Sharp jaw. Silver at his temples despite being maybe mid-30s. Several scars, including one across his knuckles. This was a man who'd been in fights. Who'd won them. You're not safe in Rome, he said quietly. Your apartment has been compromised. They know where you work, where you live, who your friends are. They'll use all of that against you. Here, he gestured to the darkness around us. Here you're protected. Protected by you. Yes. And I'm supposed to just trust you? You don't have to trust me. He turned back toward the house. But you're going to cooperate with me. Because the alternative is I leave you here alone, and when the Corsetti eventually find this place, there's no one between you and them. He unlocked the door, stepped inside, flipped on lights. I followed, because what else was I going to do? Run into the Italian countryside at midnight? The interior was as beautiful as the exterior. Stone floors, exposed beams, furniture that looked antique and expensive. A kitchen that would make any chef jealous. Living room with fireplace. Everything perfect and cold and completely impersonal. Bedroom is upstairs, Lorenzo said, setting my bag on the couch. Bathroom attached. Kitchen is stocked. There's a generator if the power goes out. Security system on all the doors and windows. How long am I staying here? Until we find the evidence. Or until the Corsetti are dealt with. He moved to the kitchen, started making coffee like he lived here. Whichever comes first. I watched him move through the space, this stranger who'd invaded my life and dragged me into danger I didn't understand. He moved with military precision, Everything economical, purposeful, controlled. You said you work for the Moretti family, I said. What does that mean? Security. Protection. Problem solving.
He didn't look at me.
When the family has an issue that needs handling, I handle it. And I'm an issue. You have something my employers want. That makes you an asset. He poured 2 cups of coffee, brought one to me. But you're also a liability if the Corsetti get to you first. So, I remove you from the equation. By kidnapping me. By protecting you. He met my eyes over the coffee cup. I could have taken you violently. Could have tied you up, threatened you, hurt you until you gave me what I wanted. I didn't. I'm giving you a choice. This doesn't feel like a choice. It's more choice than the Corsetti would give you. He took a long drink of coffee. Your father stole evidence of human trafficking. Names, routes, buyers. If that evidence goes public, it destroys the Corsetti organization. They will do anything, torture anyone to get it back. My hands were shaking. I set down the coffee cup before I dropped it. And your family wants it to destroy them? To take their territory. Yes. He was watching me carefully. You look like you're about to faint. When's the last time you ate? I don't this morning. I don't remember. He moved to the refrigerator, started pulling out food. Within minutes, he'd assembled a plate of bread, cheese, prosciutto. Placed it in front of me with the authority of someone used to being obeyed.
Eat.
I ate because my body demanded it, because shock was making me lightheaded. The food was excellent. Of course it was. Even the mob, apparently, had standards. I need to call my friend Mara, I said between bites. She'll worry if I don't show up for coffee tomorrow.
No.
No.
No calls.
No texts. No contact with anyone.
His voice was flat.
The Corsetti are monitoring everyone connected to you. Any contact puts your friends in danger and tells them you're alive and mobile. So, I just disappear? Everyone will think something happened to me. Something did happen to you. You were extracted before you could be killed. He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Would you prefer I'd left you in that apartment for them to find? I wanted to argue, wanted to rage against this impossible situation. But he was right. If what he said was true, if there really were people hunting me for evidence I didn't have, then staying in Rome was suicide. I need proof, I said. Proof my father is dead. Proof about the Corsetti. Something. He pulled out his phone, scrolled through something, then turned it to face me. A news article. 2 weeks old. Accountant found dead in apparent suicide. Police suspect foul play. The photo showed a man I barely recognized. My father. Older, grayer, but unmistakably him.
Dead.
Murdered. My vision blurred. I pushed away from the table, made it to the sink before I vomited. Lorenzo's hand was suddenly on my back, steady and warm. He didn't say anything, just waited while I fell apart over a man I hadn't seen in 10 years. A man who'd apparently gotten himself killed and dragged me into danger from beyond the grave. I'm sorry, Lorenzo said quietly. I assumed you knew. We weren't close. We weren't anything. I wiped my mouth, turned on the water. He left when I was 15. I haven't seen him since. He sent you something anyway. Before he died. We think it was the evidence. I don't have anything from him. No letters. No packages. Nothing. Then we'll figure out what he sent and where it is. He handed me a towel. But tonight you sleep. Tomorrow we start looking. I was exhausted, emotionally destroyed, terrified, but also so tired I could barely stand. Upstairs, he said. First door on the right. I'll be down here. You're not sleeping? Someone needs to keep watch. His eyes met mine. Go, Alessia. You're safe here. I promise. I didn't believe him, but I went anyway, climbing the stairs on shaking legs, finding the bedroom he'd indicated. It was beautiful, comfortable, a cage dressed up as safety. I collapsed onto the bed fully clothed and fell asleep crying for a father I'd barely known and a life that had just been ripped away. I woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the smell of coffee. For one blissful moment, I thought I was at Mara's place, that we'd had too much wine, and I'd crashed on her couch. Then I remembered. Lorenzo Valentino. The safe house. My father murdered. Evidence I supposedly had. I stumbled downstairs to find him in the kitchen. Making breakfast like this was completely normal. He'd changed clothes, jeans, and a black t-shirt that showed off arms that were definitely not civilian. Scars on his forearms. Muscles that came from serious training. Coffee, he said, gesturing to a cup already poured. I took it gratefully, sat at the kitchen counter, and watched him cook eggs with the efficiency of someone who'd spent time in military kitchens. Did you sleep? I asked. Enough. Were you watching the door all night? Someone needed to. He slid a plate of eggs and toast in front of me.
Eat.
Then we talk. I ate because I was starving and because it delayed the conversation I was dreading. When I finally finished, he sat across from me with his own coffee, studying me with those dark, unreadable eyes. Tell me about your father, he said. Everything. When you last saw him, what he said, if he contacted you in any way over the past 10 years. He left when I was 15. My mother had died the year before. Cancer. He just couldn't handle it. Or didn't want to. The old bitterness crept into my voice. He packed a bag one day and left. Sent money occasionally. Never visited. Never called. And recently? Any contact. Nothing. I didn't even know where he lived. He lived in Rome. Different neighborhood. Worked as an accountant for a shipping company. Lorenzo's voice was matter-of-fact. The shipping company was a front for the Corsetti family. He kept their books, laundered their money, made their operation look legitimate. So, he was a criminal. He was a low-level employee who saw too much. Lorenzo leaned forward. 3 months ago, he started copying files. We think he knew they were going to kill him and wanted insurance. He gathered evidence of their trafficking operation, routes, contacts, buyers. Then he sent it somewhere. 2 weeks ago, they found out. He died that night. And you think he sent it to me? You're his only living relative. His emergency contact on all his paperwork. If he was going to send evidence to someone, you're the logical choice. But I didn't receive anything. I spread my hands. No packages. No letters. Nothing showed up at my apartment or the bakery. Then he hid it somewhere you'd find it eventually. Or sent it in a way you wouldn't recognize. Lorenzo pulled out a tablet. Opened a photo. This is your apartment. We need to go through everything, every item, every piece of paper, every corner where something could be hidden. The photo showed my apartment from multiple angles. Professional surveillance photos. How long have you been watching me? I asked quietly. A week. Since we traced the evidence to you. He swiped through more photos. I know your schedule. Where you work. What you do on your days off. Your friend Mara, who you meet for coffee every Thursday. Your ex-boyfriend Chase, who keeps texting you from London. My skin crawled. You've been stalking me. I've been doing my job. His voice was flat. Which is why I knew the Corsetti were closing in. Why I extracted you before they could. What would have happened if you hadn't? They would have taken you, tortured you until you told them where the evidence was. Then killed you. He said it so calmly, like discussing the weather. So yes, I've been stalking you. And that's why you're still alive. I wanted to be angry, wanted to feel violated. But underneath the fear, I felt something else, gratitude. This man had been watching me, yes. But he'd also saved my life. What do we do now? I asked. We figure out what your father sent, where it is, how to get it without getting you killed. He closed the tablet. I need you to think. Anything unusual in the past few weeks? Any deliveries? Anything at the bakery? I thought back through the past month. Nothing stood out.
Work. Home. Coffee with Mara.
The occasional text from Chase that I ignored. Nothing, I said. It's been completely normal. Then we're missing something. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his expression darkening. We have a problem. What kind of problem? Your friend Mara filed a missing person report. The police are looking for you. Which means the Corsetti will know you're gone by this afternoon. He stood, started pacing. They'll assume I took you, which means they'll be looking for Moretti properties. Is this a Moretti property?
No.
It's mine personally.
They don't know about it.
He turned to face me. But we're running out of time. We need to find that evidence.
Now.
Over the next 3 hours, we went through photos of my apartment, my workspace at the bakery, trying to identify anything my father might have sent. Lorenzo asked questions with the precision of an interrogator. I answered with increasing frustration. I don't have anything, I finally said, exhausted. If he sent something, I don't know what it is. Then we're missing context. Lorenzo was studying the photos again, his brow furrowed. What do you value? What would you keep safe? I don't have valuables. I'm a pastry chef. I have equipment and clothes and my grandmother's cookbook. The thought hit me like lightning. The cookbook I'd grabbed last night without thinking. The one thing I'd taken besides clothes. My grandmother's cookbook, I whispered. It was hers. My mother's mother. She left it to me when she died. It's the only thing I have from my family. Lorenzo's eyes sharpened. Where is it? In my bag. I brought it because... I stopped. Why had I brought it? I didn't need it. I'd grabbed it on instinct. He was already moving, pulling my bag from where he'd left it, dumping the contents on the counter. The cookbook tumbled out, worn and stained, pages marked with notes in my grandmother's handwriting. Lorenzo picked it up carefully, started flipping through pages. Then stopped. This, he said quietly. This is it. I moved closer. The pages he was looking at felt wrong. Thicker. Like something had been glued between them. He pulled out a knife. Where had he been hiding a knife? And carefully pried apart the pages. A micro-SD card fell onto the counter. We stared at it. Your father was smarter than I thought, Lorenzo said. He sent you the evidence hidden in something you'd never throw away. Something you'd keep safe without knowing why. That's impossible. This cookbook has been on my shelf for years. Since my grandmother died. When did she die? 3 years ago. And you've used this cookbook regularly?
Yes.
At work. For recipes I stopped. Oh my God. I use it at work. I take it to the bakery every day. Which means it's there right now. Our eyes met. They're watching the bakery, he said. If we go back, they'll see us. But we need that cookbook. Yes. He picked up the micro SD card, held it up to the light. This might be a copy. Or a decoy. We need the original to be sure. So what do? We go get it. His smile was cold.
Tonight.
When the bakery is closed and the streets are quiet. We break in, we get the cookbook, and we get out. That's insane. Yes. He was already moving, gathering equipment from somewhere. But it's the only way. They're watching the front. We'll go in from the back. Fast and quiet. I watched him prepare, checking weapons, testing comm equipment, moving with the kind of efficiency that spoke of years of training. Lorenzo, I said quietly, what happens after we get the evidence? He paused, his back to me. After? Do I get to go home? Go back to my life? He turned to face me, and something in his eyes made my chest tighten. That depends, he said quietly. On what? On whether you want to. Before I could ask what that meant, his phone buzzed again. He glanced at it, swore quietly. We need to move.
Now.
The Corsetti just hit your apartment. They know you're gone. My apartment. My home. The place I'd lived for 3 years, destroyed by strangers looking for something I didn't have. Pack light, Lorenzo said, already moving. We get the cookbook tonight. After that, everything changes. I believed him. Rome at 3 a.m. was different. The tourists were gone. The streets were empty except for the occasional drunk stumbling home. Perfect for breaking and entering, apparently. Lorenzo had dressed in all black, weapons I couldn't see but knew were there. He'd given me dark clothes from somewhere, jeans and a hoodie that were somehow exactly my size. You've been planning this, I said as we drove back toward the city. I've been planning for every contingency. He parked 3 blocks from the bakery, killed the engine. Stay behind me. Do exactly what I say. Don't speak unless absolutely necessary. My heart was pounding. What if someone sees us? They won't. He was already out of the car, moving through the shadows with a grace that shouldn't have been possible for someone his size. I followed, trying to match his silence, failing miserably. He glanced back once, put a finger to his lips. I nodded. We approached the bakery from behind, through the alley I used every day for deliveries. Lorenzo examined the back door, the one I always forgot to lock, and smiled grimly. Sloppy security, he murmured. Makes this easier. He had the door open in seconds. We slipped inside. The bakery smelled like it always did, yeast and sugar, and that particular warmth of ovens that never fully cooled. Lorenzo moved through it like he'd memorized the layout, which he probably had from surveillance photos. The cookbook, he whispered. Where? My station. Second counter on the left. We moved through the dark kitchen. I could see the cookbook exactly where I'd left it, propped against the mixer, pages marked with sticky notes. Lorenzo grabbed it, started to back toward the door. That's when the lights came on. Well, a voice said from the doorway. Lorenzo Valentino. I was hoping it would be you. 3 men stood between us and the exit.
Armed. Smiling. Corsetti family.
Lorenzo's hand moved to the small of his back, where I knew he kept a gun. But there were 3 of them, and we were trapped in a bakery kitchen with one exit. The cookbook, the man in front said. He was older, scarred, with eyes that had seen too much. Give it to me and the girl lives. No deal, Lorenzo said calmly. The girl stays with me. Then she dies with you. The man raised his gun. Everything happened too fast. Lorenzo moved, pushing me behind the industrial mixer. Gunshots. The sound of breaking glass. I screamed, covering my head, convinced I was about to die in my own bakery. Then silence. Alessia. Lorenzo's voice calm. It's over. Come out. I emerged shaking to find all 3 men on the ground. Not dead, unconscious. Lorenzo stood over them, gun in hand, not even breathing hard. How did you? Later. He grabbed the cookbook, grabbed my hand. We need to go.
Now.
We ran. Through the alley, back to the car, Lorenzo pushing me into the passenger seat and peeling out before I'd even closed the door. They'll call for backup, he said, driving too fast through Rome's narrow streets. We have maybe 5 minutes before this entire area is swarming. You didn't kill them. Didn't need to. He glanced at me briefly. Killing creates problems. Unconscious men just create delays. We made it back to the safe house just as the sun was rising. Lorenzo pulled into the garage, closed the door behind us, and finally let out a long breath. That was closer than I'd like, he admitted. I was shaking so hard I could barely unbuckle my seatbelt. We could have died. But we didn't. He came around to my side, helped me out of the car. You did well. Followed orders. Stayed calm. I screamed after the shooting started. That's allowed. His hand was still on my arm, warm and steady. Come inside. We need to check the cookbook. In the kitchen, under bright lights, we carefully pried apart more pages. Found 3 more microSD cards hidden throughout the book. For copies, Lorenzo said. Your father was thorough. He pulled out a laptop, inserted one of the cards. Files populated the screen. Hundreds of them. Photos, documents, shipping manifests. Names I recognized from news reports. Routes through Europe. Evidence of a trafficking operation that spanned continents. This is bigger than we thought, Lorenzo said quietly. This isn't just the Corsetti family. This connects to 3 other organizations. Politicians. Businessmen. This goes all the way to the top. What do we do with it? He was quiet for a long moment. My orders are to deliver this to the Moretti family. They'll use it to destroy the Corsetti and take their territory. And then what? The Moretti family takes over the trafficking?
No.
His voice was flat. The Morettis don't deal in people. It's the one line they won't cross. They'll use this to eliminate the Corsetti, then burn the whole operation. You trust them to do that? He met my eyes. I don't know anymore. The admission hung between us. This man who'd kidnapped me, who'd saved me, who'd risked his life to protect me. He was questioning his own organization. What are you saying? I asked quietly. I'm saying. He ran a hand through his hair, the first sign of uncertainty I'd seen from him. I'm saying this evidence doesn't just destroy the Corsetti. It destroys everyone involved, including people in my own organization who might not want that. You think the Morettas are involved? I think powerful people don't like being exposed. And this. He gestured to the laptop. This exposes everyone. I understood what he wasn't saying. Giving this evidence to the Morettas meant trusting them to do the right thing. Trusting them not to bury it to protect their own interests. So, what do you want to do? I asked. He looked at me for a long moment. What do you want to do? Me? I'm just the pastry chef who got dragged into this. No. His hand came up, cupping my face. You're the woman whose father died trying to expose these people. The woman who's brave enough to break into her own bakery in the middle of the night. The woman who trusted me when you had every reason not to. My breath caught at his touch, at the intensity in his eyes. I want justice, I whispered. For my father. For all the people they hurt. Real justice. Then we don't give this to the Morettas. His thumb brushed across my cheekbone. We go to the authorities. The real ones. Federal prosecutors who can't be bought. We give them everything and let them burn it all down. That's treason against your family. Yes. They'll come after you. Yes. You'll lose everything. Not everything. His forehead pressed against mine. I'll still have you. My heart was pounding. Lorenzo. I've been watching you for a week, Alessia. Protecting you. Learning you. And somewhere along the way, this stopped being a job. His hand slid into my hair. I'm not letting them have you. Not the Corsetti. Not the Morettas. Not anyone. This is insane, I whispered. Yes. He kissed me, soft and certain. But you're going to say yes anyway. He was right. 2 weeks later, federal agents raided 17 locations simultaneously across Europe. The Corsetti family was destroyed. 3 other organizations fell with them. Politicians resigned. Businessmen were arrested. The trafficking routes were shut down. And Lorenzo Valentino and Alessia Fontana disappeared. We were in Croatia when the news broke. A small apartment overlooking the Adriatic, far from Rome and organized crime families and danger. Lorenzo's contacts had provided new identities, new passports, a chance to start over. Do you regret it? I asked, watching the news on his laptop. The Moretti family was distancing themselves from the investigation, claiming they'd had no knowledge of the Corsetti operation. No. Lorenzo's arm came around my waist, pulling me back against his chest. They'll be looking for us for a while. But we're ghosts now. New names. New lives. What do we do with our new lives? Whatever we want. His lips brushed my temple. You could open a bakery. Teach people to make terrible Italian pastries. Terrible. I turned in his arms. My pastries are excellent. They're adequate. He was smiling now, that rare, genuine smile that transformed his face. But I'm biased. Everything you make tastes perfect to me. Smooth talker. 3 weeks ago, you thought I was a criminal kidnapping you. You were a criminal kidnapping me. I was a security expert protecting an asset. His hand slid up my spine. There's a difference. And now I'm a man in love with a pastry chef who saved herself before I could save her. He kissed me softly. You found the evidence. You chose justice. You changed everything. We changed everything, I corrected. Yes. His forehead pressed against mine. We did. My phone rang, the new phone he'd given me with the new number no one had. I answered. Alessia? Mara's voice, tearful and relieved. Oh my God, you're alive. Where are you? What happened? The police said you disappeared, and... I'm safe, I said, catching Lorenzo's eye. He nodded. I can't tell you where, but I'm safe, and I'm okay. The man who took you is with me, by choice. I watched Lorenzo's expression soften. He protected me, Mara. I know it sounds crazy, but he saved my life. Are you in trouble? Do you need help?
No.
I need you to trust me. I'll call when I can. But right now, I need you to tell everyone I'm fine. We talked for a few more minutes before I hung up. Lorenzo was watching me with that intense focus that had once terrified me and now made my heart race for completely different reasons. You told her I saved you, he said. You did. You saved yourself. I just gave you the resources. Then we saved each other. I crossed to him, my hands finding the front of his shirt. Partners? Partners. He kissed me, deep and certain. In crime, in justice, in whatever comes next. Standing there in our new apartment in a new country with new names and new lives, I thought about the night 3 weeks ago when a stranger appeared in my apartment and changed everything. Your apartment isn't safe anymore. You're moving. I hadn't known who he was. Hadn't known if I could trust him. Hadn't known that following him into the darkness would lead to this. What are you thinking? Lorenzo asked, his thumb brushing across my lower lip. That you never actually asked if I wanted to move. You just told me I was. Would you have come if I'd asked? No, I admitted. I would have thought you were crazy. I would have called the police. And you would have died. His hand cupped my face.
So I didn't ask.
I commanded. And you trusted your instincts enough to follow. My instincts told me you were dangerous. I am dangerous. His smile was dark. But never to you. Never to you, Alessia. He kissed me again, and this time there was heat in it. Promise. The kiss of a man who'd chosen me over his family, his career, his entire life. When he finally pulled back, his eyes were intense on mine. I love you, he said. I know it's fast. I know it's insane. But I've spent 3 weeks watching you be brave and brilliant, and everything I didn't know I wanted.
So yes.
I love you. My eyes stung with tears. I love you too. Even though you kidnapped me. Rescued you. Kidnapped me, I insisted. But I forgive you. Because you also saved my life. And gave me a new one. And chose me over everything else. Not a hard choice. His forehead pressed against mine. You're everything, Alessia. You were from the moment I saw you. You mean from the moment you started stalking me? I prefer the term protective surveillance. But he was smiling now. Are you going to hold that against me forever? Probably. I kissed him softly. But I'll forgive you anyway. We stood there as the sun set over the Adriatic, 2 people who'd found each other in the worst possible circumstances and somehow made it work. 2 people who'd chosen justice over safety. Truth over convenience. 2 people who'd saved each other. What now? I asked eventually.
Now.
Lorenzo's hand found mine, fingers intertwining. Now we build a life. Open that bakery. Maybe get a cat. Live quietly and pretend we're not fugitives from 2 crime families. Sounds perfect. It will be. He pulled me closer. As long as you're with me. Always, I promised. You're stuck with me, Lorenzo Valentino. Whatever your real name is. It's Lorenzo. He kissed my forehead. I never lied about that. Everything else was pretense. But my name was always real. And mine? Is whatever you want it to be. His thumb brushed across my knuckles. New country. New life. New everything. I looked down at our joined hands. His scarred and dangerous. Mine still flour-dusted no matter how much I washed them. 2 people who shouldn't have worked but somehow did. Alessia, I said. I want to keep my name. It's the only thing I have left of my family. Then, Alessia, you'll stay. He lifted my hand, pressed a kiss to my knuckles. Alessia Fontana. The pastry chef who brought down a trafficking empire. With help from her kidnapper. Rescuer, he corrected. Kidnapper, I insisted. We argued about it, laughing, as the sun disappeared below the horizon and the stars came out over our new home. Somewhere in Rome, crime families were hunting for us. Federal agents wanted to debrief us. Old lives were waiting to pull us back. But here, in this moment, we were safe. Together.
Free.
And that was enough. 6 months later, I opened a small bakery in Split. Nothing fancy, Just a tiny shop front with an oven, a display case, and room for 6 customers at a time. Lorenzo helped me renovate it, his security expertise translating surprisingly well to construction work. "You're sure about this?" he asked on opening day, watching me arrange pastries in a case. "They might find us." "Eventually. Let them find us." I looked up at him, this man who'd saved me and loved me and given up everything for me. "We have something worth fighting for now." "Yes." His hand found my waist, possessive and certain. "We do." The bakery was successful. Locals loved my pastries, even if Lorenzo still insisted they were only adequate. Tourists wandered in, attracted by the smell of fresh bread and the promise of authentic Italian baking. And slowly, carefully, we built a life. Mara visited once, sworn to secrecy about our location. She hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe, then turned to Lorenzo with narrowed eyes. "You're the one who took her," she said. "Yes." "And you love her?" "Yes." "And you'll protect her?" "Always." "Always." His hand found mine, fingers intertwining. "With my life." Mara studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Good. Because if you hurt her, I don't care how dangerous you are. I'll find a way to hurt you back." Lorenzo smiled. I'd expect nothing less. They became friends after that. Mara came to visit every few months, bringing news from Rome and stories about mutual friends. She never asked where we were exactly, never pushed for details. She just accepted that I was happy, that I was safe, that I'd found something worth the danger. A year after we disappeared, I woke to find Lorenzo missing from our bed. I found him on the balcony of our apartment, staring at his phone with an expression I couldn't read. "What's wrong?" I asked. The Morettas sent a message. He showed me the screen. "They want to meet. To talk." My stomach dropped. "It's a trap." "Maybe." He set down the phone, pulled me into his arms. "Or maybe they're offering amnesty. A way back." "Do you want to go back?"
No.
He said it without hesitation. "This life, the bakery, the peace, it's more than I ever thought I'd have. I'm not giving it up, but you should have the choice." His hand cupped my face. "You never asked for this life. I dragged you into it. If you want to go back to Rome, to your old life." "With you," I interrupted. "If they give us amnesty, yes. With me." I looked at this man who'd appeared in my apartment a year ago and changed everything, who'd saved my life and then given me a new one, who loved me with an intensity that should have been frightening, but instead felt like home. "No," I said. "I choose this. I choose you. I choose the life we've built." Relief flooded his face. "You're sure?" "Completely." I kissed him softly. "You told me once that I saved myself, that you just gave me resources. Remember?" "Yes." "You were wrong." I met his eyes. "We saved each other. And I'm not giving that up for anything. Not for Rome.
Not for my old life.
Not for safety. Even though I kidnapped you? Even though you rescued me?" I corrected, finally giving him the word he wanted. His smile was brilliant. "Took you long enough to admit it. Don't get used to it." But I was smiling too. "You're still the man who broke into my apartment and ordered me to pack a bag. Best decision I ever made." He kissed me, deep and thorough. Terrible operational security. Complete violation of protocol. But the best decision. We ignored the Morettas message. Let them wonder. Let them search. We had something better than their amnesty. We had freedom. Years passed. The bakery thrived. We bought the building, expanded into the apartment above it, made friends in Split who never asked too many questions about where we came from. And every night, I fell asleep in Lorenzo's arms, safe and loved and free. Sometimes I thought about my father, about the evidence he'd hidden in my grandmother's cookbook, about how his death had led to my life being saved. He'd been absent for most of my life, had abandoned me when I needed him most. But in the end, he'd given me the most important gift. He'd brought Lorenzo to my door. "Your apartment isn't safe anymore. You're moving." The words that had terrified me. The command that had changed everything. This is insane, I'd thought that night. Now I thought, this is everything. Lorenzo Valentino had appeared in my life like a storm. Dangerous, uncontrollable, overwhelming. He dragged me out of safety and into chaos. And I'd never been happier. "What are you thinking?" he murmured one night, his arm around my waist as we watched the sunset from our balcony. "That you never asked," I said. "You just told me I was moving. You commanded it." "Would you have preferred I asked?" I thought about it, about the terror of that night, about how I would have said no if given the choice, about how saying no would have meant death. "No," I admitted. "You knew what I needed before I did. You saw the danger I couldn't see. You saved me by not giving me a choice. And now—" His hand tightened on my waist. "If I ask now, would you choose to stay?" Every time. I turned in his arms to face him. "Every single time, Lorenzo. I choose you. I choose this. I choose us."
Good.
He kissed me softly. "Because you're stuck with me. Forever." "Forever," I agreed. "My kidnapper. My rescuer. My love." "All three," he said against my lips. "Always all three." And standing there in the life we'd built from chaos and danger and a midnight command in a Roman apartment, I knew he was right. He'd kidnapped me. He'd rescued me. He loved me. And I loved him back. This was insane. This was perfect. This was everything. This was us.